Alright, here's the video review for Mastermind Creations Reformatted R-51 PRODITOR NIMBUS, aka Double Dealer. And here he is in Murder Chicken mode, as I'm calling it, because it kind of looks like a murder chicken. It's based off the Deathsaurus mold that they did earlier in the year. And you see, he's cool. He's got a big missile on his back that, in chicken mode, actually stays on pretty decently. It's on a little hingey back here that I think a sword could be attached to. He's got kind of movie laser beak-esque wings with the big turbines here underneath them that also function as wheels. He's got a very skexy looking vulture head with an opening mouth. And there's actually a little catch back here. So if you push the mouth up there and you can't get your fingernail into the front of the beak, there's a little lip here that you can use to open it. The head can turn side to side here, side to side here, and a hinge up and down there. The legs ratchet, the toes are posable, the feet can move. You can extend the legs a little bit. The wings can also, they're hinged here and here, and you can already see part of the issue here with this one, which we'll talk about in a minute. The wheels spin, the feathers are articulated. They can spread and close up. You can also, if you want to store them, you can kind of collapse the wings and fold them down. But yeah. And the issue I had, the only real issue I have with this figure, from a design standpoint, is the same one that I had with the earlier versions of this mold, and that is you have to screw these come unattached, and you have to screw them on right here to these hinges, and you want them to be opened up to the back when you screw these on. The instructions are pretty clear. I know initially they were not in the original release, but yeah, and that's great and all, but up here at this connection to the wing, transforming it or even posing the wing just a couple of times, that this screw starts to come loose. So if you're going to mess with it, I recommend keeping a screwdriver handy, because while it's staying okay now, but after a full transformation, it doesn't take much for at least this wing to start drooping. This one seems to be okay so far, but I feel like if I moved that one more, it would get a little droopier. This connection especially just is prone to coming loose. Even when I tighten it, I'll bring a screwdriver, I'll tighten it. You don't want to over tighten it, but I'll tighten it, and then within a couple transformations, it's already, just moving it up and down, it's already floppy and loose again. It's a minor quibble, especially since I'll probably keep them in other modes most of the time. But yeah, I just wish that was a little bit stronger connection there. I could always put like a little dab of super glue on the tip of the screw and put it in, but then you can't take the wings off, and he won't go back in the package with the wings on. So if you want to store him, so it's kind of a trade-off. It's a nice design, a little different than your usual Double Dealer. But yeah, there he is in, like I said, Murder Chicken Vulture mode. His missile tank mode is a little bit more identifiable as a bird, at any rate. His missile tank mode is a little more imaginative. He's based on comic designs, and again, based a remold of the Deathsaurus mode. But yeah, he does have his little power friends. Scar here has a little ball joint on his bat head, and then you can flip out the wings. The way he's designed, and that's it. It looks like there may be some hinges here. There's some silver paint that looks like maybe the feet move. They do not. There's the ball joint, hinge here, and a hinge here on each wing, and that's pretty much it. He does, if you don't have the wings tilted forward a little bit, he does tend to fall backwards, because you can see he's got kind of a flat piece here, and then like a kind of a scoop curved foot, as if he were perching on something. And you can probably get him to perch on things a little better than standing flat on a surface, unless you bring the wings really far forward and bring some of the weight. But even then, it doesn't take much for him to fall backwards. Actually, there we go. So yeah, bring the wings forward a little bit, and he'll stand okay. Knock, as you can see, he's folded up here. He's got his feet pegged in. And when you go to engine mode, when you rotate him up, you want to make sure that the cutout on the ball joint at the hip faces up, and that gives you just that little bit of range you need to get the foot up there and peg it in. Because if you have it sideways, it'll come up mostly to the front, but it won't give you that last little quarter inch, or actually not quarter inch, like it's half a millimeter, but that last little bit to plug the feet in. I'm just going to turn him into a humanoid right now just to show him off. And then you come back here, and then his arms are stored back in his backpack. He does have this large backpack with a gap there for his arms, and I wish that you can kind of see there's some molding there. It looks like maybe you'd be able to collapse it in a little bit once his arms are out of there, but no such luck. Because he has ball joints at the ankles and has more articulated legs, he's a little easier to get to stand than Scar is. But there's the two power drivers. And again, I wish that connection to the chest were a little bit more secure, because it is just, you can see this little rectangular slot, and there's a small tab in here that they peg onto, and you can see that wing drooping again. That pegs on right there. So they're not difficult to get out. He sits in a little bit more securely because he doesn't angle out as much, and doesn't have these pointy wings sticking out that Scar does. Because once you plug him in there to fold him up, these stick out, and it's easy to bump them. Yeah, and then turn him back into an engine. You just fold the arms back behind the head. Again, rotate the leg so that cutout comes to the top, and then rotate the knee so the foot comes up. Rotate the foot up, peg it onto the side there. You can turn his head around if you want. His head's on a ball joint, shoulders on a ball joint, and he's got a hinge at the elbow. Ball joint hip, ball joint knee, ball joint ankle. We'll turn him back into an engine. And again, you can see there's the little cutout that will attach to the engine block. And to turn this guy into a missile tank, go ahead and pop the missile off the back. It uses this little tab. You're going to leave the legs and everything as they are. For the wings, you're going to go ahead and flip those out. I'll leave them extended, actually. But fold the feathers up. And then this whole piece unclips. You can see there's a little tab here, actually. And it's going to flip around. And there's a tab here that needs to go into this slot here. So fold that around and lock that in like that. And then again, flip this around. And make sure the feathers are all the way extended. And kind of bend it around and plug it into that. And then we'll get to those. Just kind of leave those hanging down there like they're for right now. The arms, you're going to want to turn back into robot mode. He comes packaged in robot mode, but basically to do that, you just come up here, close up the toes there, fold that rear talon up, open up this panel right here, and if you need some help, you can kind of push on this panel right here to get his fist to fold out. And then this kind of just folds up along the arm, and you want to get that as close up to the arm as possible, so get the arm straight. Close this panel right here. Snap it back into place, and kind of just get the fist flat there. But make a straight arm. Same on this side. Again, we can push on this, open this panel up. Okay. Push on this panel if we need to get the fist out. Flip that up, flip the fist out, fold up all the talons here. Up onto the arm. I don't know if rotating the fist like this is going to help. I had some issues getting everything to tab in the other day, so we'll just see if maybe that keeps the fist from bumping up against... Actually, the problem wasn't even getting everything to tab in. It was the fist was rubbing up against the wheel, and I'm sure if you just get the fingers, make sure those knuckles are out of the way, because there's a very small clearance here between where this wheel folds up around here, and if you have that sticking out too far, the fist will rub against the wheel and keep it from rolling freely. You'll probably see that in action here. Down here, undo this latch here. There's a little rotating latch here that locks these into place, and pull these up and rotate them up. And again, there is, a lot of people missed it, even I missed it the first time on the instructions for the Death Source version. Right, for that, going this way, you just pull these back up, make sure this little slot, or this little knob goes into this slot here. To release them, there is a spring-loaded button back here that you want to push. It's this little circular button right here. So make sure you push that when you detach the arms, or you could risk popping that spring out. And you can replace it, but it is a pain in the butt to get done. So I highly recommend trying not to knock it loose in the first place. But latch that back up, and then you just kind of want the arms alongside the body like this. Open this up, this whole panel, slide this whole assembly up like this, push this through like that, and so this whole assembly kind of folds around like that. Come down here, flip the robot head out, open up this collar on the neck, and actually you may want to do this. Yeah, lift this up so you have the clearance before you push that back. Open up that collar and fold the bird head in, and then close the collar around that and fold the whole thing. Slide the whole assembly up. Finish folding the bird head, or I guess maybe just like that. Slide that whole assembly back, and then bring this up. Make sure this piece stays rotated up. Come on, you. Oh, come on, you. There we go. Make sure that piece stays rotated up, because when you slide this back, you want to have that sticking out, because that's where the cannon's going to attach, or the missile's going to attach in vehicle mode. Once you've got that all done, come back up here, fold this head back in, just like that. And then these are going to come down on this hinge, and you're going to fold them down. And when you fold them down, there's a tab here that tabs in right here. You can see these two tabs on the outside of the wing. There's matching ones on the inside, and they're going to, if you do this right, latch on, or they're going to clip in to these two tabs on the arm. Do I need to? Oh, actually, yeah, the arm should come around like this. So make sure the claw's on top, and then these will match up with these feathers. And then just kind of bring this down. Again, make sure this comes all the way up. Hold the purple hinge all the way up against the body, and it should snap in like that. And then this should come down in and snap into the arm like that. And then those tabs on the forearm should tab onto the arm here. You mean slide them all around a little bit. Nope, like that. Something about that. It's just a matter of it's a matter of making sure that, there we go, that the purple foot is all the way into the forearm. There we go. And there you go. And it should snap in just like that. It actually kind of settles. Oh, well, maybe not. There we go. When you get that all lined up properly, and this should just settle right onto those tabs and around like that. There's nothing that tabs in on the front. And same over here. Go ahead and rotate this around. Make sure that's pushed all the way in. When you see where this kind of hinge meets this, make sure push right here on the rear talon to make sure that's all the way in. Actually, I take it back. There is something that tabs in up front. Up here, this piece tabs onto the side of the legs here. See, I thought there was something more secure there. Same back here again. Bring this in. There we go. Tab that on there. Tab these onto the, oh, already did, great. And then tab this onto the side of this leg here. And there's the rolling portion of the thing. Something's still not 100% right, because it should roll freely. It needs to be that this was twisted. Come on. There we go. And you have the rolling wheel. And again, like I said, if the knuckles stick out, you can see the clearance there, and it's even a little bit in the shadow where the curve hits. If those knuckles stick out even just a smidge too far, they will rub against the wheels. As it is now, they're rolling freely and we're all good to go. But just be aware of that. Tab back on. And then here, and this is my only complaint about missile tank mode, is that you attach it with this tab right here into that piece that I said make sure is sticking out of the top here. And if you don't do it just right, because sometimes it likes to rotate, and if you don't get that whole piece in there, it will tend to just kind of, the tension of pushing it in, if you don't have it flat, securely seated in that thing, and it's hard to do because it wibbles a little bit. You can see I actually just wobbled it right out. It will just kind of force itself out. It'll just be sitting there, it'll just be kind of be like, boop, and it'll pop out. So just be aware of that. Again, it does, because it's floppy, it does like to flop forward a little bit, and will sit low on the tank version. If you want it to stick up, you want to, it's easier to get it where you want it if you bring this down a good bit. Make sure it's pegged in securely, and then kind of just gently bring it forward, let it flop on its own, and then slowly adjust it down to an angle that you prefer. And once you get that done, it will stay pretty securely in place. If you bump it again, it does not pop off as easily as the Fans Hobby version does, but it doesn't take a whole lot to pop that missile off. But there is the missile tank mode. And again, more of a departure from his standard vehicle mode. It's literally just a rolling missile platform. But again, based on the comics, based off of Death Source, kind of a made-up mode, because a made-up third mode. And for what it is, I think it works. It's clearly a missile truck. So that's kind of cool. And like I said, it rolls. And then to turn him into a robot, let's go ahead and pop this up. We'll go ahead and pull that down because that's going to be the handle for his gun. We'll go ahead and separate these two. This little peg right here is what clips together. There's a couple, actually there's not. It looks like there should be some friction nubs to grip onto this part as well, but it's literally just this tab right here. But go ahead and fold that down like that, and then we'll set these off to the side for the time being. Unpeg and undo all of this. Even take this, untab this, fold this back up like this, and then collapse that. Same over here. Untab it, fold the whole assembly up and around, clip it back together, and then slide that up and collapse that. And these will just kind of end up folding around onto the back of robot mode, although you can pose them if you want. The arms we've already got in place. We'll just rotate his fists around. He does have fully posable fingers, so we can go ahead and open up those hands, bring his thumbs up. Same over here. And now just pop this piece open, flip the head up and around, and then fold it, flip that over, and fold it back down and around like that. Does it snap into place here? No, I'm just going to bring his head up, snap it around. There's his robot mode head. And then down here, for the legs, open up these, go ahead and unpeg them from each other. Open up these panels. It should open to the interior, I believe. No, nope, to the outside. And then bring the whole assembly down and around. Same here. The knee will kind of straighten itself as you go. Bring this back around. When you bring this back around, make sure to leave these panels. You don't have to be straight out like this. I'm doing it for safety. But you want to make sure they're out of the way because the heel will come back, and if this is sitting forward, it will block the foot from coming all the way forward, and you'll be like, what? And you don't want to force that up into there. I guess you could force that up into there if you wanted to, but that's a pain to get out. So come here, you. And then the foot. There's a small heel piece in here that has a little nub. If you can get that one was okay. If you push it too far in, it can be real difficult to get out without a spudger. So let me get a small little prying tool here. Get that foot started. And then we'll go ahead and flip that heel all the way out. Bring the toes down. And then just bring this whole assembly down and around like that. And kind of flip this little toe spike up. And then you can fold that down once you got the foot all the way back. And same over here. Bring the toe down, bring that foot around. There we go. And from that point, then you just use the heels and the toes and pose them so he's standing up. Bring the ankles down a little further. Again, you can have him just kind of sit here like this on his back. You can fold them in. They actually do kind of click in. There you go. On his back like that, which does give him a big backpack. Here, let's get the whole thing in here. You can also, if you want to give them some wings in robot mode, you can. You can extend them. You can extend them out. You can leave them short. Again, droopiness. But if you want to spread them out, personally, I think that makes them look pretty dynamic with the wings in robot mode. Even though technically this is supposed to be his I'm not a bird, I'm a robot disguise, but whatever. You can also, if you want to, you can tab those back into the back of the arms, although then you lose the shoulder articulation. But if you want it more secure, you have that option. Although, again, I don't like that because we're going to show off the articulation here soon, so let's leave them hanging off the back like that. The gun can go in his hand. He's got a little tab there for it. So you want to bring the thumb down like that because there's a tab here and a tab here, and this tab goes in the back part of his hand, and it won't fit if you don't get that thumb out of the way. So you got to kind of come in here, get it in there. Again, the friction likes to pop that out, and then you can bring the thumb up and around to hold it, bring the fingers around. Already popped back out, whatever. It's a short, stubby gun, but it works. The missile, and I remember wondering what this cutout was for on the Death Source mode, because it's not over here and it's not filled in with a piece, and that's because this comes in and you actually slide it in from the side. You don't, like that. And it locks in place very well, but you don't just plug it in from the top. You kind of get it in the gap there between the head. Make sure it goes all the way down and then slide it in from the side. And of course, he's missing one little thing. That is his buddy that we turned into an engine a little while ago. And you just take it, vent with the engine exhaust facing up, and plug him on. Is it facing up? Yeah. Oh, no. Maybe it is facing down. Well, it should just peg on here. I don't know why I'm having... There we go. Yeah, I was right the first time. And there he is in robot mode. He does have ankle tilt, so let's go ahead and make use of that so he's not standing quite so bow-legged. Got the wings back here, which again, you can kind of do whatever you want with. There we go. But he's got a ball joint head. He's got dual hinge shoulders, a ratchet front to back, bicep swivel, dual hinged elbows. He's got the wrist swivel, the individually posable fingers that we talked about. He's got a little bit of an ab crunch. It double clicks, although, again, you got to grab it in just the right way because I just moved a whole bunch of stuff around that shouldn't have moved. Okay, ab crunch, you can go back to normal now. There we go. Waist swivel. These little panels get out of the way, but he's got hips that ratchet in both directions. Thigh swivel. Ratcheting knees to a little past 90 degrees. Some little buttons there that don't really seem to do anything. Whatever. He's got ankle tilt, toe articulation, heel articulation. So he's pretty sturdy and secure. Doesn't want to keep his head on, though. And then, there we go. Get him standing back up straight. And for fun, I brought home my Fans Hobby Double Agent. There we go. Nope. Just to do a quick comparison. So there's PRODITOR to NIMBUS. Let's get him all the way back there. And then here is Double Agent. And I think they're both decent representations depending on what kind of double dealer you're looking for. You want a more traditional G1 double dealer? Over here. You want one that looks like it would fit into the IDW comics? Over here. Now, I will say, I think if I could only have one of these guys, I would pick the Fans Hobby version. It's just more of what I think of as double dealer. Now, I saw, like, this one feels like a product of its time, because I remember seeing, back when I worked for them, I saw some of the preliminary, like, 3D design renders for using a repaint of Death Source as double dealer, and I thought it was fantastic. But that was 6-7 years ago. It's been a while, and they just took a long time to come out, and I feel like it shows. This is something that I feel might have gone over bigger half a decade ago. I still like the design. Like I said, I really like his murder chicken mode. I think it's unique and it's fun. I've been calling it the murder chicken. It's about the size of a real chicken too. It's been sitting on our kitchen table for a while, so I've made jokes about it. But I think as a remold opportunity, it's super solid. I think they've done a really neat, got the most use out of this mold by making him a couple different characters. He's done 2 versions of Death Source now and Double Dealer. I just think the Double Agent is probably my preferred one. It just has more of that G1 look to it. Not that I'm married to G1 stuff. I like all kinds of things that aren't G1, the design styles and such. Just this is my personal opinion. It's a solid figure. It's fun. I do wish the wing, like I said, my 2 issues are the wing's a little floppy, and I wish the missile stayed on better in tank mode. It stays on. It's just really easy to knock loose. To be fair, that's the same complaint I had with the Fans Hobby version. It was that the missile just likes to pop off very easily in all of the modes. And I wish it had a more secure connection. So yeah. But there is Mastermind Creations PRODITOR NIMBUS R-51 in their reformatted line.